Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Kathy, and I help teachers just like you succeed in the online teaching industry. When I first started teaching online, I thought it would be super simple. Just open up Zoom, chat with students, and everything would fall into place. But let me tell you, I made so many mistakes in those early days. Some of them cost me time, some of them cost me money, and honestly, some nearly made me give up altogether. So, in today's video, I'm going to share 10 top mistakes new online teachers make, and most importantly, how you can avoid them. Trust me, if you are just getting started, this is going to save you a heap of stress and a lot of time. Okay, so let's get into it. Mistake number one is not having a professional setup. One of the first mistakes I made was teaching in a dark, cluttered room with like really echoey sound. And students notice that straight away. If your background is messy or your audio keeps cutting out, it just doesn't feel professional. So you have to look at how you can get that sorted. Like my first room I taught in, we actually lived in a house that was quite dark and the walls were like a blue color. And I actually had to end up painting the walls to just lighten up the whole room. So here is a fix. You don't need to spend a fortune. Use natural light if you can. Sit by a window or grab an inexpensive ring light. You can really get those ring lights anywhere nowadays, and they really are not expensive. Keep your background simple. Even a blank wall, if you're teaching adults, is better than chaos. And please invest in a decent headset or microphone. Students will thank you. My wall and my background, I have some of my students have sent me some of their pictures that they've drawn for me. And so I just printed those out and stuck them on my wall. And I change it every couple of months. But you really don't need to spend a lot on it. But the main thing is you don't want a really cluttered background. Okay, so mistake number two is underpricing your lessons. Okay, when you first start out and you're starting to teach on a platform, on a teaching platform, you won't really have control over your lessons prices. But if you're working for a marketing platform, or if you are working for yourself and you have your own private students, then you will look at pricing your lessons. And oh boy, this one really hurt me. I thought if I charge really cheap, I'm going to get more students, right? Okay, that was when I was on Preply. It sounds really logical, but it's wrong. What actually happened was I burnt myself out teaching so many classes because I was trying to make money and I was getting so little money from each class that I had to just keep teaching more and more lessons to make a good enough salary. And when I tried to raise my rates later on, it was really tough. So here is the fix. Start at a fair but competitive rate and think about the value you bring, not just about what you think people are going to pay. And remember, raising your price as you gain experience is much easier if you don't start at rock bottom. If you start at rock bottom, it's really difficult to pull your prices up and to start to increase your prices. So have a look and see what you can find at a medium sort of ground so that you're not starting at rock bottom. Okay, and that's really an important thing to learn and to get control of. Okay, so mistake number three is over planning or overloading lessons. I don't know. When you start in your early days, I think this is what everybody does. In my early days, I'd plan hours of content for a 30-minute lesson. I thought I needed to fill up every second of the lesson with activities, worksheets, grammar drills, you name it. But my students just ended up being overwhelmed and I ended up being exhausted. The fix: keep it simple. Structure your lesson into three parts: warm up, your main activity, and a wrap up at the end. Your warm up and your wrap up are really important too. I always spend some time with my warm up just chatting to the students and getting a little bit of their conversation going to build on their conversational English. Focus on 1 or 2 goals that you want to achieve per class. Quality is so much better than quantity. Okay, so that's over planning or overloading your lessons. Let's have a look at mistake number 4, which is ignoring student goals. This is a big mistake. And I used to assume that all my students just wanted general English practice when I started. And then I had business professionals who needed interview prep and kids who needed phonics. And my one-size-fits-all lessons just weren't cutting it anymore, right? So the fix is always ask your students about their goals. Find out from them what are their goals. And if it's a kid, find out from their parents what are the goals for the lesson. What do they want to achieve? Do they want to pass their ALTIS? Do they want to improve business English? Do they want to speak fluently in conversation? And then when you personalize lessons with your students stick with you longer. I've had some students that have been with me since they were really young, and 5 years later, I've still got those same students. They've got so much older, but I still have them. And this is just from finding out what their goals are, changing the goals as you go along, and growing with your students. Okay, mistake number 5, a lack of marketing. I made the mistake of signing up to a teaching platform and just waiting for students to find me. And guess what? Hardly anybody did. Okay, this I'm talking about a marketing platform. It's different to when you teach for an online school. The fix is you have to really market yourself. Share short teaching clips on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. And like on Amazing Talker, where I have students, you can put little shorts on there as well. Post helpful tips for English learners. Even word of mouth can work wonders. You don't need a huge following. You just need consistency. And I can tell you that once you start getting students and you start going for your students' goals, which we mentioned as mistake number 4, you're going to start getting people that are going to start referring you, and you're going to get a lot of your students by word of mouth. And that's the only way I get students nowadays, is because all of my students refer other students to me. And so I'm always fully booked with the amount of students that I am wanting at that time. Okay, so mistake number 6, relying too much on one platform. It's not a bad thing to start off with one platform in the beginning. Choose somewhere that you want to start teaching in the beginning and get to know that place really well. Get to know the ins and outs. But as soon as you know what's going on, then you can start to add more platforms. At one point, I was only teaching on one platform. And then they changed their rules, which they always end up doing. They lowered their pay, and suddenly I was stuck because I had all my eggs in one basket. Okay, so the fix to this is diversity. Once you get used to the one platform, sign up for more than one platform. Or better yet, like me, start building your own private student base on the side. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, which I've said before. You can, in the beginning, while you're starting to build up your own private student base, you can still be working for different platforms. Like at one time I was working, I had 3 platforms I was working for, and I was starting to build up my private student base. And you just have to be really careful with your schedule that you don't get double booked and you know exactly where you are at. But we will get into that in another video about how to schedule your time. Okay, mistakes number 7 is poor time management. I used to schedule lessons back to back to back with absolutely no breaks in between. When I first started, which was at the beginning of COVID in 2019, obviously I wanted to make money because I'd lost my income, and I just wanted to get as many lessons as I could. And I started at rock bottom with my hourly rate, and I needed to do a lot of lessons to make up the money that I was needing. And so I just had back-to-back lessons with 5 minutes break in between each. And by the 5th class, you are absolutely exhausted. And my voice used to go. I used to get like laryngitis and my voice used to be gone from talking like for 8 hours a day without a break at all. So the fix to this is give yourself some buffer time. Space out your lessons so that you have time to prep, grab water, and reset. A tired teacher isn't an effective teacher. And I can tell you, like, if you do that back to back all the time, you will definitely burn out. And it can cause other health issues. Like I put on so much weight because I wasn't moving around. I was just sitting in my chair for 8 to 10 hours a day without ever getting up, just running quickly to the loo and coming back again. So it's really important to give yourself enough time in between lessons. Okay, so mistake number 8, forgetting about classroom management online. Online doesn't mean chaos free. Okay, just because you're teaching online doesn't mean that managing your class goes out the window. I've had students eating during class. Actually, yesterday I had a student eating during class. And it is so terrible because you cannot hear what the student is saying. Parents whispering answers to the students or siblings running in and out. At first, I didn't really know how to handle it. And I also didn't want to offend anybody and you didn't want to get your students into trouble. But I learned very quickly the fix is set rules early. Remind students to mute when they're not speaking if it's really noisy in the background. For kids, gently tell the parents how they can support the students without interfering. Just bring it across in a nice way that it's better for the student to try and figure it out or to try and speak on their own without being told the answers all the time. And they don't need to be right all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. Boundaries matter even when you are teaching online. And so, mistake number 9, not investing in continuous learning. Okay, so just like you would when you are teaching in a normal classroom, you have to think about continuous learning. At one point, I thought I had everything figured out. I had this online teaching thing waxed and everything was going smoothly. I stopped learning new techniques and my lessons got a little bit stale. Student noticed that, and I actually got bored from doing the same things over and over again. Okay, so the fix is always be learning. Always try and do something that you can push yourself. Take a mini TEFL upgrade course, join a teacher Facebook group, or watch webinars. Even small improvements can make a huge difference to your teaching, and it just revitalizes everything. Okay, mistake number 10, and we did touch on it earlier under time management, but burnout. Lots of teachers burn out. This is a big one. Finally, the biggest one of all. I once said yes to every single student at every kind of time zone. I was teaching at 10 a.m., 2 a.m., 7 p.m. Okay. And I was skipping breakfast, skipping breaks, skipping lunch, and almost at one stage I almost quit because I was just so tired I couldn't keep my eyes open. So the fix is to know your limits. Set teaching hours that work for you. Take days off. Remember, your energy is part of what you bring to the lesson. So protect your energy. Give yourself a break. Do not burn out. So there you have it. The top 10 mistakes new online teachers make and how you can avoid them. And don't worry, if you've made some of these already, we all have done it. We've all been there. So the good news is now that you know how to move forward, go and move forward with confidence. Which of these mistakes have you made yourself, or which are you most worried about making? Drop your answers in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and we can chat about it. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future teaching tips. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.